So, a quick recap on what I'm doing over here. Coolant hose blew off. It may or may not have been held on with a zip tie. We're not going to go into that too much. You know, it lasted for like 2,500 miles, so it's not bad. I was taking pictures of it for my Instagram, and I was looking through the lens and I was like, is that steam? I started to smell coolant, and yeah, so the hose blew off. So I'm gonna replace the hose. It's the little clip that's bad. I don't know if you can buy just the clip. I bought the whole hose, so it is what it is. So I'm gonna replace the hose and then bleed the coolant system, and should be good over here. So yeah. A little more engine in this car. Oh, I guess those are bad too. Excellent. Oh, man. That'll do it. I wonder if I really needed to take this off. I might be able to just get to the hose from underneath. Maybe I'll get lucky. Yeah, we'll try that. I don't think the shroud needs to come out. I don't even think I need to take the fan out, but here we are. There's like fiberglass in this fan shroud, and I don't know what the deal is, but I always get like a rash working around this stuff. I don't know how to seal that back up or what, but it's pretty nasty. Don't breathe it in. Might be asbestos. I might die from cancer, you know. Part of loving a BMW. Alright, so I just popped the top clip off of this coolant hose. So this is the part that joins to the thermostat housing. So I should be able to pop the top of this hose off real quick. That'll work. Golly, it's tearing me up. Okay, so here's what I've got going on. This little piece down bottom, this goes in the thermostat, this goes into the radiator. There's a little sensor that plugs in here. That's hollow through there. I can't quite reach the plug for this, so that's what I'm finagling right now, if you were curious. I just don't feel like taking the reservoir off. Maybe that's easier though. Work harder, not smarter. Got it. I just gotta snake it out of there. Give it up. It's always a joy. There it is. Alright, so I'm assuming this sensor is for coolant temperature coming out of the radiator. I don't know, not totally sure which way things flow, but yeah, I'll get that transferred over to the new hose and get that taken care of real quick. Something doesn't seem quite right. Let's do a quick comparison. Yeah, no, something's not quite right. Had the right part number. Well, that's a real doozy. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. Literally all that's bad is this clip right here. I'm gonna take this clip, put it on this hose, put this hose back in. How's that sound? And put this clip on this hose, send it back to Amazon. Sorry, Bezos. Well, I guess you should be apologizing to me. This is not the part that I ordered. Got the part number right, by the way. I'll double check that. Alright, back in she goes. Here's the culprit. I'd much rather just have a hose and put a hose clamp on it. Guess this is easier for the factory workers. I don't know. Okay, so in conclusion, there's nothing wrong with the hose, nothing wrong with the clip, nothing wrong with anything. I had to put the clip in like the halfway position and really wiggle it on. For some reason they just don't fit together right, the male end on the radiator and the female end of the hose. Wish I had realized that back when I originally put it on when I was rebuilding the Vanos. Would have saved me a little zip tie trouble and a little trouble right now, but here we are. Anyway, I could have known nothing's wrong with it though. Haven't blown anything. So anyway, yeah, I'll be back, break for lunch, and be back to bleed the coolant. So in the spirit of there always being something going on, the camera battery died, so I'm taking over with the phone camera. So heater's running. Just gonna start pouring a little bit of coolant in here. This is 50/50 coolant, so gotta keep that in mind. I'm actually gonna start with water, so that I know I've put exactly a gallon of water in it. I'm not too concerned about the ratio being off because I can correct that later. So I'm just gonna fill this up and just keep filling until I see coolant and air bubbles bubbling out of the bleed screw. And your engine doesn't need to be running for any of this, so don't worry about that. That is one thing that's different with the older cars and the newer ones. They're all a little bit different. You kind of have to get a feel for bleeding each one. Definitely would be simpler with just a radiator cap, but alas, here we are. Watching that bleed screw as you're filling. You will spill a little bit of extra out, just a tiny bit. That's alright. You may want to spray any coolant that overflows out of your engine bay so you're not corroding things. Just wash it out with some distilled water. You probably have extra. There you go. Get some bubbles coming through. Bubbles, more bubbles, more bubbles. You just keep on going until it's just coolant. No bubbles. I'd say I thoroughly dumped my coolant. A lot of times, one thing you can do to make this process not as long and tedious is you can pop your upper radiator hose and fill the block by filling that hose, just holding it up over top of everything. Just fill it until you see a little dribble come out of the upper radiator where the hose connects. And plug it back in skillfully, dumping coolant on the ground. But it makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker to fill everything up. This process doesn't take as long as if you do that first. Alright, there's still a little bit of bubbles working out. We're definitely a lot closer than we were. Alright, I think we're almost there. Best case scenario, you might be able to attach one of those funnels that are made to attach where radiator caps attach. If you get one of those and fill this up that way, you'd be able to put a lot more pressure on the system to force bubbles out. You just have to be ready with the bleed screw to put it back on, because it would definitely force coolant out if you did that. You can also squeeze your hoses a little bit, work things around. Not too aggressively, you don't want to spray coolant everywhere. I'd say that's ready to go. Hey, so this is post-recording Braden. I didn't film after I bled the 540. All I did, closed everything back up, ran it, drove it, got it up to temperature. Everything was looking good, held temperature, didn't overheat, didn't do anything. So it's good to go. That's literally all you got to do. Well, wait for it to get cold, open your coolant reservoir and siphon just enough out to get your level not overfilled. But other than that, that's all you got to do. So I'm good to go here. This car's back in action, so that's great.